Dictionary, the word fantasia. First of all, the pronunciation of that word, we have 2 or 3 possible pronunciations for it. The first one is the one I've just pronounced, right? This is the stressed syllable. Fantasia, right? Fantasia with a schwa sound, sound. The second possible pronunciation is fantasia. All right, of course you don't pronounce gia, right? But I want you to realize that's a sequence of sound. Gia, right? Fantasia. And the third one is one that I actually don't like. It doesn't sound nice for me in English. That is fantasia. Fantasia. I don't like it. Okay, so the meaning of fantasia. First of all, don't confuse fantasia with fantasy, right? Fantasy is a very common, very everyday word in English. You can have your fantasies for when you win the lottery. You can have your fantasies regarding the next door neighbor. That's another issue, right? Probably some of you know the movie Fantasia by Disney. You know, and in Portuguese it was translated as fantasia, our regular word, but in English it has a more fancy, artistic ring to it, okay? It's not fantasy, the name of the movie in English, it's Fantasia, okay? So, Fantasia is actually a quite old word in English, but it has always been specialized to artistic context. It came to English in 1724, you know, and basically it meant, and until today it means a musical composition that sounds extemporaneous. Okay, so what's extemporaneous? It's a difficult word there. Extemporaneous. Impromptu, you know, you are improvising, so it is either improvised or it sounds improvised. So there are many compositions in classical music, some I think very famous by Mozart, for example. I think there's one called Fantasia in C minor, and there's another one, Fantasia in D minor, something like that, okay? So it sounds improvised, okay? Well, if you take a look, I don't know, around, you see that you find the word, as I said, in artistic context, but not only to describe music. In pop culture, for example, we could call fantasia getting a bunch of songs, putting them together, and making them sound like one. You are kind of singing a lot of stuff and connecting them. Maybe, I don't know if people from the musical world would agree, but maybe something like what happens in that movie Moulin Rouge, okay? Well, but you won't find fantasia just in that original sense, even though the dictionary defines it in musical terms, right? You will find it to describe paintings as well. For example, one of the videos I watched, a woman was talking about, I think, the Rococo fantasia, you know. Remember, the Rococo is that period close to the Baroque, so you have many colors appearing, and you could use it to describe it. I've even seen a cooking show where the woman promised to make fantasia cake, something like that, you know. So apparently the cake will be very creative and there will be colors you would never imagine. Another thing that comes to my mind is the situation here from CCE. There is this place called Bora Bora. If you take a dip, you know, you dive, you can see a fantasia of color waiting to be discovered. So there are the corals, the many kinds of fish, you know, so it seems as if nature is improvising with colors and beauty.